Sísa glan mór dú gomach ma dín haurí Holland mein cailleach go ceol a drandan Jeis mé se tamil le cuafaí na sianbhra in sa glór gur ón láistín ag slotse na bhíon. Tháinig mé dealrú na saoirse sa teantail ghuaileacha óigar sa súile Grainne bantracht Honach tan sé ar Easter I maislín go hantrach in sa glór go láistín ag slotse na bhíon. Sin moige I geisteach loi golwood na glantan go croga gan sir shave geran níor ní love bionchi in sa glór.
Giadich a Carja, welcome to the 2021 Belfast Sinn Féin Easter Commemoration. I want to begin by extending the solidarity of Sinn Féin to the families of all our Patriot dead. As with every Easter, you're the foremost of our thoughts. Easter is a special and poignant time for Irish Republicans. It is a time when we commemorate the men and women of 1916 and of every generation since who have played their part in the cause of Irish freedom. This evening we will be joined by lifelong Republican Gerry Kelly, hunger striker Pat Sheehan and some of the finest musicians in our city. Have a lovely evening and enjoy tonight's event.
Rise up, see what we've achieved, standing on the shoulders of the ones who dared believe. Rise up, see how far we've come, let the laughter of our children mean our day has finally come. Cherish all the children, remember those we've lost, our sisters and our brothers who have paid the highest cost. For we must build a future to the glory of their name, when the island and its people know their freedom once again. I know we're strong, but we must be stronger for the road that we're on. Together we're stronger. Rise up and let them hear your voice. Let those who hold the chains know they no longer have a choice. The darkness on that cold and lonely road of those who stood against us as we made our way back home. And from its highest mountain, through the valleys to the sea, let the future of this island be Republican and free. It's now we will be heard, and proudly we will stand among the nations of the world. Rise up, the time is coming soon, and we must be together for the rising of the moon. I know we're strong, but we must be stronger for the road that we're on, for the road that we're on. Together we're stronger, together we're stronger, together we're stronger, together we're stronger.
Public na Héireann, the Provisional Government of the Irish Republic to the people of Ireland. Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland, through us, summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom. Having organised and trained her manhood through her secret revolutionary organisation, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, and through her open military organisations, the Irish Volunteers and the Irish Citizen Army, having patiently perfected her discipline, having resolutely waited for the right moment to reveal itself, she now seizes that moment, and supported by her exiled children in America and by gallant allies in Europe, but relying in the first on her own strength, she strikes in full confidence of victory. We declare the right of the people of Ireland to the ownership of Ireland, and to the unfettered control of Irish destinies to be sovereign and indefeasible. The long usurpation of that right by a foreign people and government has not extinguished the right, nor can it ever be extinguished except by the destruction of the Irish people. In every generation, the Irish people have asserted their right to national freedom and sovereignty. 6 times during the past 300 years they have asserted it in arms, standing on that fundamental right and again asserting it in arms in the face of the world. We hereby proclaim the Irish Republic as a sovereign, independent state, and we pledge our lives and the lives of our comrades in arms to the cause of its freedom, of its welfare, and of its exaltation amongst the nations. The Irish Republic is entitled to and hereby claims the allegiance of every Irish man and Irish woman. The Republic guarantees civil liberty, equal rights and equal opportunities to all its citizens, and declares its resolve to pursue the happiness and prosperity of the whole nation and of all its parts, cherishing all the children of the nation equally, and oblivious of the differences carefully fostered by an alien government which have divided a minority from the majority in the past. Until our arms have brought the opportune moment for the establishment of a permanent national government, representative of the whole people of Ireland and elected by the suffrages of all her men and women, the provisional government hereby constituted will administer the civil and military affairs of the Republic in trust for the people. We place the cause of the Irish Republic under the protection of the Most High God, whose blessing we invoke upon our arms, and we pray that no one who serves that cause will dishonour it by cowardice, inhumanity or rapine. In this supreme hour, the Irish nation must, by its valour and discipline, and by the readiness of its children to sacrifice themselves for the common good, prove itself worthy of the august destiny to which it is called. Signed on behalf of the Provisional Government, Thomas J. Clark, Sean McDermott, Thomas McDonough, P.H. Pearce, Eamon Keant, James Connolly, Joseph Plunkett.
This Easter we remember both the 105th anniversary of the 1916 Rising and the 40th anniversary of the 1981 hunger strikes. In 1981, as we began our hunger strikes in the H blocks, the determination, resilience and sacrifice of the 1916 revolutionaries was etched on our minds. As I was on hunger strike, isolated in my prison cell and contemplating the terrifying road which lay ahead of me, I thought about those men and women of Easter 1916, of those poorly equipped revolutionaries who, knowing the cruel fate that would lay before them, stood united, defiant and rose up against a towering and brutal tyrant. I thought of how James Connolly, blindfolded, wounded and tied to a chair, faced that firing squad, but remained unbowed and unbroken until his final breath. And from within this unshrinkable courage and sacrifice, I found that deep inner strength and resolve required within my own mind. You see, what the British establishment could not fathom to understand is just like the men and women of 1916, the men of 1981 could not be broken. To them, we may have just been ordinary people from the streets of Belfast and Derry, and from the hills and towns of Tyrone, Armagh and South Derry. But we too possess the same unquenchable thirst for justice and freedom in the H blocks as they did in the GPO. And I have no doubt that if Bobby Sands, Joe McDonnell, Kieran Doherty or any of our comrades who passed away on hunger strike in 1981 had have been alive in 1916, they would have stood shoulder to shoulder with Connolly, Pearse and Carney in the GPO.
A great crowd had gathered outside of Kilmainham, with their heads all uncovered. They knelt on the ground, for inside that grim prison lay a brave Irish soldier, his life for his country about to lay down. He went to his death like a true son of Ireland, the firing party he bravely did face. Then the order rang out, present arms and fire. James Connolly fell into a ready-made grave. Now the black flag they hoisted, the cruel deed was over, and gone was a man who loved Ireland so well. There was many a sad heart in Dublin that morning when they murdered James Connolly, the Irish rebel. God's curse on you, England, you cruel-hearted monsters. Your deeds, they would shame all the devils. In hell there are no flowers blooming, but the shamrock is growing on the grave of James Connolly, the Irish rebel. Many years have gone by since the Irish rebellion, where the guns of Britannia lay loudly did speak. But above all their din came the cry of surrender, was the voice of James Connolly, the Irish rebel.
A Harja agus Camradiha, is anna mór dosa bhean seo ag glúirt liviniu ar an násta riúil seo ag cimhniú ar na fur agus na mrá a fuair bás ar san Sheehan na Hern. I want to welcome you all to the 2021 Belfast Easter Commemoration. Easter is a poignant time of the year for Irish Republicans across Belfast, the island of Ireland and indeed further afield. It is time when we commemorate and pay tribute to our Patriot dead and all those that have lost their lives in pursuit of Irish independence. I want to extend the continued solidarity of Sinn Féin to the families of all our Patriot dead. You have suffered so much personal loss and grief, and as always, you're to the forefront of our thoughts. I want to also pay respect to the many fine Republicans that we have lost over the last year, including of course our late friend and comrade Bobby Story. Their families are also in our thoughts this evening. Easter 1916 was a time of great heroism, sacrifice and inspiration, when Irish women and Irish men rose up against the tyranny of colonial rule and oppression. Those very ordinary men and women, from the tenements of Dublin to the streets of Belfast, rose up in unity and defiance against the British Empire. They lit a fire that marked the beginning of the end for the British Empire, and their courage continues to burn bright in all our hearts, 105 years on. The years that followed sadly ushered in regressive politics advanced by counter-revolutionaries, leading to the partition of our island, with the creation of a sectarian apartheid state in the north. A state based on the foundations of social exclusion, economic discrimination and heavy-handed state repression. In every generation since, Republicans have actively resisted this inequality and partition. From 1969, volunteers Órlaithí Flynn fought with huge energy and stamina against a mighty British army when left with no other choice. We are forever indebted to their sacrifice. These brave volunteers who give their lives during the conflict were not abstract to their families or to our community. They were fathers and mothers, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters. They were our neighbours, work colleagues, former classmates and friends. They had family and friends who they loved, and they too loved them back. What bonded them together as comrades, as revolutionaries, was a profound love of Ireland and of its people. What made them extraordinary was that they had a vision of a new Ireland based on freedom and equality, and were prepared to fight for it. There are turning points in every nation's history. The 1916 Easter Rising had a global effect, inspiring freedom fighters around the world. In our recent history, the popular uprising of 1969 against the Orange State, the IRA cessation of military activity in the 1990s, followed by the Good Friday Agreement of 98, are all watershed moments. As was the 1981 hunger strike, and on this, the 40th anniversary, we remember the hunger strikers with immense pride and honour. In 2021, we are now in another defining moment of change for our nation. The conversation on a united Ireland is now at the centre of political discourse across the island. Irish politics is undergoing its biggest shake-up since partition. But there is no miracle in achieving an Irish unity. It is not something that we can wish into being. We must graft for it, we must work for it, and we must prepare for it. And that's exactly what we have been doing. Sinn Féin are now the largest political party on this island, with over 700,000 votes. We are in government in the north and are providing the most radical, Republican and credible alternative to the failed government in the south. Sinn Féin is a party based in the communities most under the strain of the conservative economic policies of London and Dublin. We understand and reflect the needs of people in their daily lives. That understanding and connection with our community is the bedrock of our politics. As Republicans, our goal is a new and united Ireland that is inclusive. It means believing in the intercultural society where discrimination of any kind is outlawed. We remain guided by the noble ideals of the 1916 leaders, but we move forward in the context of 2021. Imagine Sinn Féin being the largest party in the north, with Michelle O'Neill as the First Minister and with Mary Lou MacDonald as the Taoiseach. This is within our grasp. Bobby Sands said that there is a place for everyone in the struggle for freedom. Join us in achieving that and shaping a united Ireland. Let us all draw from the reservoir of courage of our fallen comrades, family and friends as we move forward with their vision. Bigi Kincha, go may our Lalin.
Shinyalia Crafail Hata Fuyale Gerin Buyentar Slu Hartinderani Kogin Fuivach Vesir Shan Chir Shin Sherfasta Niag for Fuin Chir na Fuin Trial Hanok da hem savar na wel le keller gil hon bosh no sail le honi screch fui lawach na biler Shalev Kanagi Oran Avi